Hey YouTube, I've been gone for a few days. Did y'all miss me? I didn't think so. So sitting here, my daughter's sitting here eating ice cream. I had a friend of mine say in a video, he said, comment on my video, I should say. He said, all your videos so far, all you talk about are, knives that are costing $500 plus, $400 plus. He said, where's the low grade knives that that the average guy carries? And so I went into my drawer, and I was thinking about it when I was taking a shower. I was like, what am I going to put out there for him? What am I going to put out for Timmy? His name's not Timmy. So I went through some stuff that I've got, and they're knives that I still carry, and I still use them. And so these are all knives that aren't in that, $400, $300 range. These are all, with the exception of one, I think they are sub $100 knives. And they're still really good knives. So, the top of my list for my sub 100, any of the knives I've got, I just got rid of a Recon 1. Awesome knife. This is my Cold Steel AK-47. And I'm going to tell you, this is a workhorse. It's a nice hollow ground, and once you take the factory edge off. That's one of the things you got to deal with Cold Steel. You heard me talk about it in my NTAC video about how perfect Elliot's edge was. Exactly the opposite with the Cold Steel. They come with a really good primary grind, but I don't know who they've got sharpening their knives at the factory, but very poorly profiled sharpening. Angles aren't good, but once you get it down good, you can get them good and sharp. And I don't know what the difference is between, you're not going to see any SOG knives come out. I have a thing, I don't like SOGs. And it's not that they're bad knife designs. I don't like their steel. Their AUSA 8, I don't know if it's how they heat treat it or I'm not sure what it is. It just won't hold an edge. Now, Cold Steel, this is AUSA 8, and yes, I did remove all the black off of it because when it started to chip, and found that underneath, it's poorly lit, it's dark here, and I'm using the living room. Second video of my living room. There's actually a stone grind, a stone wash underneath that actually looks really nice. But I'm actually selling this knife. There's a young man that wants to buy it. Triad lock on this. Incredible lockup. You're not going to get this knife to fail. G10 scales, aluminum skull crusher on the end. It's got the wave feature, and it snaps open. It snaps open real well. It's just, it's comfortable. It's just I don't carry it anymore. Like I said, I've got a couple knives that have kind of replaced most of them, but it's not a bad knife. So Cold Steel AK-47. Cold Steel AK-47 is one of those sub $100 knives that I would most definitely recommend as an everyday carry. Another Cold Steel. Now I love this little thing. I'm not going to get rid of this. This is something that's going to stay. This is the Toughlite, the Cold Steel Toughlite. I do like Cold Steel knives for as much as the hype and the overtop stuff that they do with their videos. They do make a very nice knife, and you're not going to find a small knife with the lockup and the workhorse power that you get from this. And the nice thing about this is it's small and it's comfortable. It's very comfortable when you look at the finger choils, the way the clip falls right in, and your finger basically drops right into that pocket clip. My daughter's doing handstands here. It's okay. She doesn't have to be quiet. So once you get it, it's got some jimping, but it's more vestigial. It really doesn't serve a purpose. But I do like the wearing cliff. The wearing cliff blade on this. This comes in so handy from time to time, and it's actually so easy to sharpen, and it gets sharp. Like I said, AUSA 8. I don't know how Cold Steel heat treats theirs. A lot of times that's the difference. I was talking with Elliot up at Fair and Forge about his LMAX versus some of the other LMAX, and it has a lot to do with how you heat treat certain steels. I have never had edge retention problems with a Cold Steel made in AUSA 8. However, I've had some SOG knives, and I don't have any anymore strictly because they will not hold an edge the way I want them to. I get upset like Robbie did with the LMAX video, like Smoke Eater 908 did. So the Toughlite and I have a smaller version. I think it's the Toughlite Mini, which actually has a shorter blade. both of them for your everyday work knife around, and I mean, it's basically a half moon from point to point. It's completely round. So you guys got to see my daughter for the first time. So, but the other thing is it sits in a hip pocket. Thin profile. It's got this nice little divot here. It'll sit in a hip pocket comfortably to where you don't even know it's there. So you can throw this in a hip pocket with whatever your primary ADC is in your front pocket. And lately that's been this. I got a story to tell you about this. I actually did something stupid and had to go up to Elliot's shop the other day on Thursday. The day after I made the video about this. But yeah, this will sit in a hip pocket really nice. And if you look, it's comparative in size to my NTAC. So if you want something there's a stainless steel Endura. It's a little knife, but it's got a fairly large cutting surface. It's fairly straight, and like I said, sharp. It's got a nice piercing point. It wouldn't be something, well, I don't know, you could probably carry it for self-defense. It fits in the hand pretty well. You could probably do some strikes with it. So sub 100, my Spyderco Native. Now this is not necessarily a sub 100. This was a limited edition run through KnifeCenter.com. Apparently Knife Center was the first website that sold Spydercos online. So Knife Center had a limited edition run in this handle color, and I'm sorry, it's not real great color, but it's the FRN, it's the earth brown, the earth tone, but it was done in CTS XHP. And once again, this is another one of those super steels that once you get it sharp, it'll stay that way. But once again, Spyderco, please take note that I did have to modify your knife to make it user-friendly. I had to add, it's not going to come out real clear, I think my head out of the way. I added a sharpening choil. And basically what I did was I looked at the Strider sharpening choil that I'd seen, and I used a half round file, a diamond file, and a flat file, and I made one of those so that I'm not tearing my stones up on that extremely sharp corner right there when my stones run into it. So just some, now I'm not sure, I think I paid $110 for this, but I am going to throw this one in because the Endura, this still by far one of my favorite knives I've ever owned. I have a friend at work, he's a chief that's getting ready to retire, keeps telling me, he's like, hey, is my knife okay? And he's referring to this because he loves this knife. And he seems to think that when he retires, he's getting my knife. He's not getting my knife. But I did find him on Amazon for $74 on sale. So that's why I'm throwing this one in. I paid $110 for it, but I do believe that right now these are sub $100. I think they're below the $100 mark. So yes, I have a lot of knives that are below the $100 mark. And I do carry these knives. This one's nice because it's so thin. If you look at it compared to my NTAC. Now, go read in the bedroom. I'm distracting you, I'm sorry. Talking to my daughter. Now, the difference between this and this. Yes, this is a very nice knife. However, if I did to this knife what I did to this knife last week, I would basically have to buy a new knife. Spyderco would look at me like I'm an idiot. So last week, I did my video Wednesday. Thursday I went to work, and this is my new baby. It's my new favorite. It's in my pocket all the time, and it's as it progressive, it has just gotten faster. And I didn't think that it could get that much smoother. It's so fast now that it's broken, because I flip it until my fingers sore. So I was getting out of the work truck, and I knocked my clipboard on the ground early Thursday morning. And I stood up, and luckily I had my jacket on, because you're not going to see any damage to the anodization on it. Maybe a little bit here if you looked real hard. And I caught the corner of the door to the work truck in there, and it yanked that knife back into my hip going this way across the pocket. And this is the pants pockets here, and it yanked it back into my leg, and it hurt. And I said, oh man, that hurt. And I got up and I picked the knife up, and then I was like, oh, I hope I didn't I got it down in this part here as opposed to up in here. And I'm like, man, I hope it didn't. Because if you look, there's no more room for anything in there because Elliot made this all blade. And I was like, oh, I hope I didn't knock the tip off it or something. And I got to looking at it, and I looked down in there, and there's a gap in between the scale and the standoff. And I was like, oh, no, what did I do? And then all the times that people were like, why do you carry a $900 knife to work? And I was like, why? Or a $500 knife to work. I was like, why did I carry a $500 knife to work? So I put it in my cooler where I knew it was safe. No one could get to it. It was hidden fairly well. And got home that afternoon, and I texted Elliot to find out if they're in the shop. I told him I did something stupid. And I went up, and Elliot informed me, like he has previously, if you are the first-time owner, you have a lifetime warranty. And since I live 15 minutes down the road, I took it up there. Now, if you want to know why you pay $500 for a Ferrum Forge knife, I'm going to tell you. I broke my knife within a week of owning it. I took it to Ferrum Forge, and I turned and I looked at the Diamondbacks that were on the counter and looked at a couple things, and before I knew it, my knife was back in its case and it was sitting in front of me. I didn't realize he'd even fixed it. So, you don't know what you're paying for? You're not just paying for the fact that it is an amazing quality knife. You're paying for the fact that they back up their workmanship with a lifetime warranty, and they'll honor it as long as you didn't do something stupid to your knife. They'll honor their workmanship and fix your knife. So just a little thing on customer service, quality of service, and what you're actually paying for when you buy these. Buy a Cold Steel, they say they have a like a 2-year limited warranty. I guarantee you, if I busted this knife and broke it, I'd have to buy a new one. It would be easier just to buy a new one than to have to deal with customer service. That's what you're paying for. Not just the quality, but you're also paying for the peace of mind that if something does happen, that they're going to honor their promise to you with that lifetime warranty. And I mean, it's no joke. He had it fixed so fast, I didn't even realize he'd started. I didn't. And my daughter was upset because she didn't get to go with me. But no, I just thought I'd throw it out there. So those are, I have a lot of knives that are under the $200 mark that are amazing knives. I have some, I don't have as many anymore. I had some Kershaws and things like that. I do, however, have a Sebenza that I took in trade because someone wanted one of my other knives that was, I'm not going to know what it was or how much, but he was a little short. Asked me if I'd take a Sebenza 25 in trade. I looked at it, and it didn't have a mark on it. And I, hey, I'm not one of those guys that will turn around and sell a knife, after I get it for $200 more, $400 more. I had a Shergorov that he wanted, and I was willing to give it to him for what I paid for it because it had sat in my safe. Because I'm not going to get into the big thing about it. I really didn't like it. I never carried it. Not that it wasn't a good knife. It just wasn't what I thought. I thought it was what I wanted, but it wasn't. And so I sold it to him for MSRP. And I sold it to him for what I paid for it. And I could have easily gotten another $400 or $500 out of it. But, I didn't. But he was short. He was short because he thought maybe it had some wear. And I told him, I'm selling it for what I paid for it because I've never carried it but about a day. And I realized I didn't like it. So I took a Sebenza 25 in trade. There may be a video coming. There's a lot of videos about Sebenzas. But I had a guy, I posted it on Instagram. I had a guy ask me the day after I got it. I put it in with my current lineup of things, in order of preference, with this being the first and my Ultratech being the last. I think this one was in there too. And immediately I got a DM saying, hey, would you would you be willing to trade for that Sebenza? And I was like, I just got it. I've never had a 25, and it's pretty nice. I think I like it. I like it more than my old 21 that I carried. I sold that 21 for $200 because it beat up and busted up. I think I'm gonna hold on to this one for a while. So all those knives, if you saw my Instagram picture, all those knives that are on that counter, it's not negotiable. None of those knives will go, except maybe that Sebenza, and it's debatable whether that one will go. So none of those knives on that. So don't even bother asking. The Ultratech's going to go to my daughter. My father's knife, that old Camelus. There's no way I'm ever going to let this one go. My DOC, I got it broken and smooth the way I want it. So, I mean, and then this one's strictly because I've carried it so much, and then I went ahead and put the sharpening notch on it. None of those will ever go. So don't bother asking. My top, that picture, that top tier of ECDs, EDCs. Sorry, you know me. I flubbed things up because I'd been drinking. That top tier EDC picture that I put, I'm sorry, it's like 94 degrees in the house. It's April in San Diego. It's like 94 degrees. Yeah, none of those will ever go. I have some other knives that are coming up for sale. I may put them on Instagram. Most of the knives that are coming up for sale are going up for work. Going up for sale at work. I'm going to offer them to the military guys at a lower price. I do that because I know, got him. I know how much they make. I remember what it was like being a junior sailor and you don't make much money and you would like to have something nice and you can't. So if they don't want them, then I'll put them up for sale. So other than that, it's been a few days since my last video. I got food poisoning in there too, so that was pretty nasty. I did a garden hose impersonation. So I just thought I'd get the video out because I had a friend ask me about, you know, maybe show some knives that don't cost an arm and a leg or a testicle or a kidney. So I thought I'd throw it up. All right, take it easy. Later.